Hello, welcome to step 3. We're going to move on to the squares now. And with the squares, you will need, depending on what you're working with, you will need your one ball of yarn or different colors if you're going to do squares in different colors. We start off the same way we started off before. Either you can tuck it into the back of the work that you've already started, or if you're continuing on from yarn that you already have attached, you don't need to worry about doing that. So I'm starting with an orange square here so you can see what I'm doing. And the whole part of this is we're going to be doing longer stitches. Ooh. So each square is broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches across. And then we go down 1, 2, 3, 4 to make this little square. So we're going to do that. So where we're going forward, all of these stitches are going to be top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, all the way across. So I'm going to come in through this hole right here, which is 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th hole in from the side. But if you're looking at the stitches, it's 2 stitches in. Does that make sense? The outer border, inner border, then moving on into the next one. So I come through the top part of the stitch towards me, where I've started a new color. I have to hold on to that in the back, but you won't need to do that if you're continuing on. And of course, where we're going forwards, I'm going to go bottom away from me, just as I did in all my previous stitches before. Just like that. Voila. Outer border, inner border, first stitch of my square. Now, my next one comes through the next hole that's in the top, but here's where this gets different. I'm going to go all the way down to the inner border. They're going down the side. So instead of this being just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, this one's going to stretch over 1, 2, 3 holes. It's going to be a longer one. And you see how it touches the inner border on the top, and it also touches the inner border on the side. My next stitch in the square, top, and we're going to go away on the bottom, but same thing again, we're going to make sure that it touches the inner border on the other side. This stitch stretches over 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. My next stitch, for the next one, top hole. Same thing, it's going to stretch now down 5 squares so that it touches the inner border here on the bottom. And now it's going to go one more. This is the 5th one. This is number 5. And it's going to touch the bottom there, down the side. So what we have now is getting progressively larger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. That's as big as we're making the square. So what we have to do next, we want to make the square finish off. So you see how this is like a triangle, and we're making this now a square. In order to make this a square, what I'm going to do now is come down. So imagine this is a line of your square, and this is a line of your square, the outer edges. I'm going to come down now 1 from that last stitch, that really long one, my last orange one. Come down from that, stitch top, and for the bottom of this stitch, I want to come next to 1 hole in further from my previous stitch through there. Bottom, that's away from me now, like that. So you can imagine the next one after that, we're going to go down 1 again, top, across one again, bottom, down one again, top, across one again, bottom. See, and that stretches over 3 holes. And then we have one last one. Top, bottom. Oops. And what you have now is your completed square. Ta-da! Now, no matter what, whether you're using different color wool or the same colored wool, what you have to do now is turn it over to the back, and you're going to tuck it in going up towards the top. Tuck in, top, up to the top. Comme ça. If you're going to be switching colors, then you take your needle off, you snip it, and you change colors. If you're going to be continuing on with the same color, you're just going to pick up right where you left off. But the reason why we tuck it in is to keep it neat and tidy. Considering I'm changing colors, I'm going to pause for a moment so I can do that, and I'll be back. Okay, I've changed colors, but if you haven't, either way, you've still tucked up the back, and now you have to start your next square. Your next square, you might be able to guess where it goes. Your next one, I'm going to come in here, one over from the very top of my orange square. So this is the hole that had the top corner of my orange square. So I'm going to go in through the next one. Okay, so this was the top one of the previous square. I'm going to go in through the next one to the right. Same thing where we're just going forward. It's still continuing with the process of top bottom. The first stitch is going to be a regular one. It just goes through 2 holes, top, bottom. Your next one is going to come now into the right, through the right, next to my previous stitch. And now I'm going to go back away from me. This one's going to do just like before. This is going to now stretch 1, 2, 3 over 3 squares. So it's going to touch the top border along the top and touch the side of my previous square to the left of it. Top. This one stretches over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Touches the side of the previous square. Next one, top, bottom. Here comes my cat. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to do one more. There we go. 5. Top, bottom. Just completely touches the side of the previous square. Same as what we did with the orange one. We have to begin closing off that square now. So we've made it as wide as it's going to be. So that means now we have to go down 1 underneath that. Top, bottom. Down 1 underneath that. Remember to bring it across. Top, bottom. Bring down another one. This one stretches across 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. Across. And your last one. Back down to 2 holes again. Top, bottom. Voila. And you have another completed square. Same thing, no matter what, you're still going to tuck underneath and start up at the top again. Now, there are people who can do that differently, but I'm keeping it this way for consistency purposes for you. Okay? If you're changing colors, you snip it off. If not, you're going to start with the next one. I'm changing colors, so I'm going to pause and get my next color. Okay, here we are for the last square of the row. So we've already done 1, 2. Now we do our third one. Same thing, I'm going to move one over to the right of the top of this square. So the top of the green one ends here. So I'm going to move one over to the right of that. Okay, so this was the top of the green square. I'm one over from that. Pull that through. If you're still working with the same color, of course you don't need to worry about tucking things in. It's going to touch the top border and then the side of the previous square, my green square. Same as we've done before. This one, of course, is going to go right over and touch the very corner, top, bottom, all the way across. Realized I've chosen kind of an autumnal pattern or autumnal color scheme. I'll stick this one, put it away till fall. Top, bottom, all the way across. Made the square as large as I can make it, and you'll notice that it lines up with the corner. Oh, of course you can see all the black cat hair. Sam likes to sit in my knitting basket, see? That's where all the black cat hair comes from. Okay, so I've gone all the way over to the corner. Now, same thing, now I had to go down just as I did before. Down one. Top. Across one from the bottom. Bottom. Down one. Across one. Down one. Across one. Down one. Across one. Just like that. You have 3 completed squares. And the thing is, you'll do another row of squares and then another row of squares. Same thing here. I'm going to tuck it in. This time, no matter what, even with using your regular color, you're going to tuck it in, cut it off, because you're going to start again over here and work your way across so that you can keep your stitches consistent. So if I'm going to start again over here, that means I'm going to come in through right here and work my way across. I'm going to thread one more time to show you how to start that, and then I think you should be able to get the rest of the squares on your own. All right, so I'll show you how to start that next row of squares, because we're doing this set of 3 rows of squares there. So my next row of squares, I start, here is the bottom corner of the first square, so I'm going to move 1 hole in from the bottom corner of that previous square. So you see that? There's the bottom corner, the next hole in. That still has the yarn in it. I'm going to put it like this. Top, same thing. Bottom, remember we start with just 1, 2. You want to make sure that it touches the top of the square on top of it, and it touches on the side, touches the border. So that's just a regular top-bottom stitch. The next one touches the bottom of the orange square, touches the side of the inner border, which stretches over 3 squares. Bottom of the orange square, side of the border. That's 3 stitches. bottom of the orange square, side of the border. This is where some people go, uh-oh, but I've reached the bottom of the other orange square. Technically, no. Remember, it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this is only 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It needs one more stitch. It's going to go to this one, to that very bottom hole that hasn't been filled in, to complete the corner of that square. Touch there. And then the bottom touches the border. Same thing, so now we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means we have to complete the square now. So I'm going to go 1 underneath that stitch, 1 across, 1 underneath, 1 across, 1 underneath, 1 across, 1 underneath, 1 across. Voila. Turn it over and scooch it up the top. I think you should be able to get the other squares. It continues to follow that pattern, and the bottom continues on from where you left off. I'm going to complete the inner squares, and then in your final video you'll get to see how to do the border.